Hello, my name is Mick Meanus. Don't waste your time in the comments. I know what my surname rhymes with. I am your host with the most. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, on Snapchat BMouse60, on TikTok Mad Mickey's World, on Instagram and Threads at Movies TV Mad X. This is Movies TV Mad because I am madly, insanely in love with movies and TV, mostly of yesteryear, because entertainment's gone out the window. Entertainment used to inspire us, used to make us excited, used to make us forget about our dreary lives. That's why it was invented. But not anymore. If you demand great entertainment that inspires you and distracts you, you're called a fascist by New Hollywood. Yes, they genuinely believe that. But on today's show, I'm a bit triggered and angry because when you, the fans, us the fans, are misinformed, I get fucking pissed off. Let me make one thing abundantly clear to you right here and right now. No matter the scenario, no matter who purchases Warner Brothers Discovery, and somebody will, make no mistake, especially you Gunn stands who are praying to the gods, whatever gods you believe in, right? Whether it's the new gods or dark side, which I think you're probably more dark side people than the good gods, right? Like Superman. But anyway, whatever happens, Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be sold. And I can promise you that James Gunn and Peter Safran will be ousted as CEOs of DC Studios. Because Peter Safran and James Gunn have no value to any studio, especially Warner Brothers Discovery, who was relying on them to save their beleaguered studio. And it was never gonna happen. Gunn and Safran even started a coup to remove Adby and DeLuca as the co-CEOs of Warner Brothers Pictures so Safran could take it over. Do you remember those rumours from Variety? Who do you think put those fake rumours in there in the first place that Adby and DeLuca were going to be fired by David Zaslav? Only a moron would employ Gunn and Safran as CEOs of any studio. And we have, unfortunately, a moron who's been put in charge of Warner Brothers Discovery, Mr. David Zaslav. So it's insane. Now, as I say, I'm very, very triggered and angry today because we've got scoopers, movie scoopers like Jeff Snyder saying Paramount are out in the bidding to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery. You cannot know that. He's basically assuming this because one of their bids, their first bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, was rejected. Yeah, it happens. Then you come over for another bid and another bid and another bid. Every single company, not just film studios and streamers, will be bidding for Warner Brothers Discovery. So there's no way that people like Jeff Snyder, who are film scoopers, who can be right about their film scoops, can be right or have any knowledge of business. Jeff Snyder, has no fucking knowledge of scooping for business. He ain't a business scooper. You can't scoop fucking business news. I know it's connected to a movie studio and entertainment the Roadhouse is in, but he can't know that Paramount Pictures, Paramount Blue Sky are out of the running. And this is why he's saying it, because the rumour is that Paramount and Ellison will fire Gunn and Safran as co-CEOs of DC Studios. Well, let's make this absolutely clear, Mr. Jeffrey Snyder. No studio or company in their right mind will keep Gunn and Safran in place. So it doesn't matter who buys Warner Brothers Discovery, whether it's Netflix, which basically the Snyder stands are desperate for Netflix to buy WB because they feel the Snyderverse will be restored. I don't know where they get this trust from. Now, I know that Snyder had some good friendships and connections within Netflix, but basically, why isn't there a Rebel Moon 3 then? If he's got good friendships there, where's the zombie movie he made? Where's the sequel to the zombie movie he made? If he's got good connections in there and he can get the Snyderverse restored, why are we seeing more of his shit on Netflix? The reality is that I don't trust any of these fucking studios streamers. They're all connected to big tech, AI, or owned by big tech. I know why people don't want Paramount to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. Neither do I. But just because you don't want something to happen, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because you want Netflix to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery so they can restore the Snyderverse, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I want the Snyderverse restored. I want these brilliant creatives to have different corners of the DC universe and give us great DC. Gunn will absolutely fail upwards after he's fired by whatever company purchases Warner Brothers Discovery, and I'm sure he'll get his own little corner at the DC universe, which I'm fine with. But this guy shouldn't be heralding the future of DC film and television because he doesn't have a fucking clue. The man is a fucking disaster. And you heard that bit of audio from Grace Randolph yesterday. You know, we're hearing that he was running DC before he was announced in running DC. He was behind the Shazam movie. And I actually complimented that movie yesterday because that's a good way of Marvelizing DC. Not that I want DC Marvelized, but Shazam, the first Shazam, was a solid movie. But I have doubts about, let's say, Gunn being involved too much in the decision making around Shazam. Walter Hamada made Walter Hamada decisions. The director of Shazam had already directed some horror movies for Walter Hamada at New Line Cinema. So I'm not too sure how far back Gunn goes. I'm sure he influenced certain decisions, like with the Flash movie, but I'm not too sure about Shazam. But none of this shit matters. Gunn and Safran are finished in terms of running DC Studios. But going back to Jeff Snyder saying that Amazon are out, let me say that again, not Amazon. Going back to Jeff Snyder saying that Paramount Blue Sky are out, there's no way he can know this, because I don't know if it's one bid and out for them. But it's not the way business is run. Business people make a bid, it gets rejected, they take a step back, and if they really want the company, if Paramount are really serious, they'll make a stronger bid. Now, people keep on telling me that Paramount don't have the funds to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. That's nonsense. What mushrooms, what marijuana have you been smoking? If they don't have the funds, look, you're talking about a multi-trillion conglomerate in David Ellison, if that's his name, right? You know how shit I am with names. If he doesn't have the funds to buy it, he'll raise the funds. He probably already has, or he wouldn't be making fucking bids for the studio. Paramount Blue Sky are a serious company and a serious bidder. Now, Netflix have made it known after being asked that they're not necessarily sure they want to merge with Warner Brothers Discovery, but they didn't discount themselves getting involved in the bidding. They were talking about being an original company, having their original stuff, so it's not something that they normally would do, buy a big studio. Everyone wants to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. It absolutely is on the market. It's one of the biggest studios in the world in terms of history and legacy, and it owns some of the brightest, best intellectual properties, or as you know them, IPs. So there's no one who wouldn't want to buy this company, and it's going to be bought, and Gunn and Safran are going to go, whether you want that to happen. Now, whether you want Paramount to buy the studio, or whether you want Netflix to buy the studio, just because you want that to happen, it doesn't mean it will happen. We are in a reality where the people who own studios and streamers cannot be trusted because their heart isn't in the entertainment industry. They don't care about making great entertainment. They care about making politically correct entertainment, which is, it's already doomed to fail them. They're already on their knees. Paramount was about to go bankrupt before David Ellison bought them. That's the first one. They were putting out shitty Star Trek for years, and the rest of the shit they were putting out. And who knows what happens now. We'll see if Paramount are a competent company. It will be fucking interesting, won't it? We already know how incompetent Netflix are. Sometimes they'll put out a good show, and sometimes they'll have creatives that are absolutely shit and politically correct and extremists that are not interested in entertainment. The woman running The Witcher drove Henry Cavill out because he was passionate about being accurate to the games, right? So he had to go because Henry is passionate about art and entertainment and story. We can't have people like that, especially if they're straight white males. So this is the problem, and they're all the fucking same. Also, going back to Grace Randolph saying about Gunn making certain decisions, giving Kevin Feige notes on what directors and writers to bring in. I absolutely believe that, but it's crazy to listen to a man like Gunn. That's why it's fucking insane to put him in the head of DC Studios and let him charter the future of DC film and television. Allow him to cancel a brilliant show, a generational show like Superman and Lois, which many, many people loved. So you've got to be fucking insane to listen to what Gunn says. We know what type of stories he wants to tell. As I say, he has no value. He cannot bring you money, and he didn't. His Superman film needed to make 750 to 850 million to make beyond what they spent and to make a profit. That's what they needed. The film needed to be successful. It needed big box office. And I'm sorry to tell you this, 615 million may be solid, but when you've spent over 300 million on marketing and a production budget, that ain't success. That's a disaster. But they've been running around. His mate Kevin Feige saying, oh, Superman's a success. Oh, there can't be any comic book movie fatigue because Superman was a success. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a success, and I even believe they lied about the 615 million they brought in. The truth will come out eventually, won't it? It always does. There's no hiding the truth from the internet. The internet will always expose you. So, Gunn and Safran are finished at DC Studios. No matter what Jeff Snyder says about Paramount, Paramount aren't the only company that will not employ Gunn and Safran as the co-CEOs of DC Studios. No company in their right mind are going to allow these Mr. Beans to do open heart surgery on them. They're finished. They're gone. They should never have been in place in the first place, right? Let's get that absolutely clear. So if Mr. Jeffrey Snyder is saying, well, Paramount want Gunn and Safran out, but they're out the running. Let's say Paramount are out the running. No other studio or company is going to keep Safran and Gunn in place. Gunn and Safran are fucking clowns. They're a joke. Zaslav is the only fucking clown who would keep them in place. Nobody else. At any other studio at this point, they would already be fired. Well, apart from Disney, Kathleen Kennedy's been in place at Lucasfilm for years, and they've been underachieving and spending too much money. I heard the other day the Rise of Skywalker cost over $500 million to make. They need to put a $100 million cap, $100 million production budget cap on all movies today, because you don't have the footfall in cinema or the interest. They drove the interest of film and television away from people because they kept on making shit, right? You keep on selling me mouldy cheese. In the end, after I've had so much diarrhea and I'm frying all your shitty mouldy cheese up, I'm not going to want to eat your mouldy fucking cheese anymore, right? It's an apt analogy. So, you damaged your own heritage. You damaged the legacy and history of Hollywood and great stories and films and television with your obsession with streaming and artificial intelligence. And it's only going to get fucking worse. The only way to save entertainment is for us people who want to create and entertain to start our own entertainment companies, little ones, and do the right things. And have the motivation in our hearts to entertain and distract people from their very lives and inspire them. And that's not what's happening today. So, to be clear, Jeff Snyder knows jack shit about business and whether or not Paramount are out of the running to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery or not. Do not listen to movie scoopers about this situation, or you will end up being very misinformed.